We're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Aftermath Hours, the weekly podcast of Aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported website about video games, the internet, and everything that comes after. Aftermath is fully reader-supported. Still, I know I keep hinting at something. It's going to happen eventually. But in the meantime, if you like what you hear, you can subscribe at aftermath.site/products. Or if you don't have money right now, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave a review of the show on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you get your podcasts.
If you
Uh,
make me personally, Gita Jackson, laugh in your review, I will read it on a pod eventually.
yeah,
But you
live
have
on
to
air.
make 5 stars, make me laugh. You have to make me laugh.
It can't be
So,
Yeah,
mean. If it's mean
no,
and we still laugh, then we do not reward that kind of behavior.
no. I will give that a private chuckle. But if it makes me laugh and is wholesome, then I will read it. And it's 5 stars. Those
The
are all the
two,
parameters.
we want to make sure
hmm
the inputs are clean here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Nathan Grayson, and today I'm joined by Chris Person,
Hey guys, what's going on?
and, normal Chris Person, and Gita Jackson.
Hey, what's up? I'm regular Gita as well.
Yeah. And we are here today to talk about some very fun and cool stuff, specifically the continued erosion of the video game industry into the ocean. Uh, yeah, both Microsoft and EA made terrible announcements this week that I think are very
Really like
demonstrative of kind of the direction of things.
a
So
one-two
let's talk about
punch
them.
of just disaster capitalism, right? like,
Uh-huh.
okay. So I wanted to talk about the EA thing specifically because for a long time, I have followed and really supported the Sims dev team
Mhm.
because, like, EA has bought so many studios, and Maxis was a really, really special studio. And they managed to keep some of the Maxis ethos alive in The Sims. But with this new with the purchasing EA by the Kushners in Saudi Arabia, I don't know. I think it's the end. Like that Maxis is finally dead. And I know that there's people on that dev team that I've met and I've talked to that have been a part of this development team since The Sims 2, which is really the last like Maxis game that still has the unique sense of humor and design ethos. And it just makes me it reminds me a lot of there was a wedding pack that the team announced and said that they were initially unable to sell it in Russia due to Russia's laws against quote unquote gay propaganda. Um and I know that The Sims is also just wholesale not available for purchase in many Middle Eastern countries, including Saudi Arabia. Uh, I don't know that there will ever be a Sims 5. like, given the baked into the game support for LGBTQ people. Like,
I,
there's,
Right.
from the very first Sims game, that is just a part of the design ethos. And I am like so many other things about this sale are really distressing, but that's one that I find really like I'm so sad. I love The Sims.
Well, and also, like, let's talk about, the way that EA has been discussing this in the aftermath of the sale. They've been saying that like their values will not change or something to that extent. But like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Because that like, there's an entire values is an umbrella. Many different things could be under that. They could mean like their design ethos in terms of how they make video games. They could mean their values around microtransactions.
Yeah.
Like,
They
what
love
does that
those.
actually mean?
I
Um, and like
yeah.
they can also this always happens when there's a big sale in any industry, but especially in video games. They're like, we're not going to do any immediate layoffs. We're not going to do this. Nothing's going to change. And then like, of course, things change because either they were lying, which is often the case, or like the people who made the company what it was leave or get laid off, and other people come in and they never said things weren't going to change. They weren't even there or something like. And so, of course, things change. It's like so goofy for them to make these statements because they can't know. Like they're just, it's all hot
Yeah.
air.
But
Yeah.
also, it's interesting. I wonder actually to the degree to which this actually will matter. And I mean, I think we were joking a little bit about like, adding the cast of the Riyadh Comedy Festival to The Sims. You know what I mean?
No, I wasn't
Beforehand.
joking about it. I'm
Yeah.
dead serious.
Yeah. Aziz Ansari is coming to The Sims today.
Greeble Gray. Yeah, no.
Pete
Grow.
Davidson, you will date all of your Sims today.
But like I don't know. I think like a thing that has, I don't want to say it's a larger issue, but it's like a concordant or like an issue that rhymes is sort of like what is left of EA,
Hmm.
because like
Right.
a lot of these companies that were like you'd go to E3 and it would be like, here's the EA press conference, here's the Bethesda, here's the Square Enix one, and like these companies that weren't the big three but were like as important or on the secondary tier, like each of their fates post COVID has been really fascinating, and to me it's like, okay, EA is sort of like puttered along just because it has sports and sports prints money, and
Hmm.
like the what we're seeing sort of is a less of an investment, or less of like seemingly less caring less and less about anything that isn't sports. And so for me this is all rhyming with Saudi sports washing and like
Yeah.
how they
Yes.
have
Yeah.
fucking done everything involving like, you know, like owning sports to an obscene degree. I was in this is funny. I was in like a store the other day and they had Lego and they had a Lego that had what's the name of the line? The city that's a line.
Oh, the Neom. Oh my god, I'm
They
obsessed
have
with
neon.
Neom.
They have
Right.
neon Lego. Just in terms of
What?
just weird. And I think it's because like boating is subsidized by like has a lot of neon investments. So it's like if you're making the
Uh-huh.
Lego, but like that's the kind of shit that like this feels closer to. Not necessarily the
Yeah.
like the big scary like, oh, we're gonna, you know, say you can't be gay in this. I mean, that's gonna happen just because they don't care about that shit. They care about sports.
Yeah, but I guess it's also like, that's one step removed from where EA was already going anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
EA's been
mean,
eliminating like things of actual cultural importance beyond sports for a minute now. Like BioWare has been downsized to basically nothing.
yeah.
Like the
I mean, even
question is like,
with The
what is,
Sims,
yeah,
it's like Sims fans, Sims players. So I haven't played The Sims in a long time, and part of that is because there is
because
like
you found Dwarf
no.
Fortress.
Yes, well, I love Dwarf Fortress, and I just love that game. But no, there is like Sims players have said and are right, the game is incredibly buggy, and it's very clear that the team does not get enough support to go back and fix bugs in things that have already been released. They have done things like pack refreshes. They've done one, then they announced this, and it was a huge initiative, and they were going to refresh a lot of the old packs. And then they did only one, and they haven't gone back and done others. And new packs keep coming out, and they remain broken. Like there's even really really old packs like the restaurant pack, that the restaurants in The Sims 4 basically don't work, and it's really frustrating to play the game. As much as I really love what the game has become, and I really like the way that The Sims 4 has brought back some of the styles of gameplay from 2, like the memories and stuff like that. Like I
Mm.
and the way that your traits can change based on things that happen to your sim. Someone was playing Don Lothario who has the trait flirty, and he got rejected for woohoo one time, and immediately the player got a pop-up saying that he wanted to change his trait to unflirty, which I think is really funny.
I
It's a great game, but it is also like, all even though that game makes money, you can see in real time resources are getting siphoned away from it in
yeah.
favor of sports
Yeah.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
also I
Well,
want
and
to
also,
say
layoffs and other things of that nature. Like
Yeah.
just in general, this is what happens when all these companies get cut to the bone, is more and more the seams start to show. And you're like, okay, again, like the big question with EA, as with any of the companies we're talking about, including Microsoft, which we'll discuss later, is like, what is left of this thing? Like, it still carries the name and it still like looks the same from a distance. But when nothing is really working and there are fewer and fewer people to pick up the pieces, then like what is it? What purpose does it serve beyond, again, like lining somebody's balance sheet?
I for me it's interesting. I think so much. Well, two things that really come front of mind to me is one is the this the I don't know if you've ever seen it, the reading list that came with the first Sims game.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
incredible
it's
shit.
incredible. I've been meaning to like do like a book club on at least one of those books for a very
If
long
you
time.
look at one of the developers on 2 for a long time had his design docs free and readable on his website, open to the public, and they are really robust. Just
Yeah.
thinking about how to gamify human interactions and human life. There's a real intense design philosophy that I think like Max has just like produced a lot of really special, thoughtful people.
Yeah.
And the games really reflected that in the way they gamify human experience. And I don't see an ecosystem where people like that can sit down and make reading lists for their games, right?
Yeah. No. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, especially now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
no,
Chris.
no, no. And the other thing I was going to mention, one is this sort of loving intentionality that has been sort of slowly stripped away from, or not even slowly stripped away, just like their ability to act on those things and their resources to do those, and like it being this thing that is like very rightfully like big, but not big enough as sport, like not as big as sports, and thus not as important. It always felt like this was an inevitability. Like, not to focus too much on The Sims, obviously, but like, and that's why like Life by You being canceled was always like so rough, because it's like there needs to be a
Yeah.
fucking there needs to be lifeboats for this franchise, because people can't
Yeah.
play it forever and somebody needs an alternative. This is what happened with City Skylines. There has been a SimCity game fucking years because City Skylines, one, not two, uh, got its shit together and like, did it better than
Yeah.
what was available. And like, the meddling of EA is just constantly just, oh man, it really bothers me. And Respawn, everyone, like, just,
Yeah. No,
But
no,
yeah,
it's yeah. Go ahead, Nathan.
something else to remember. Like you know, it's interesting to see how far we've come, if only because I just remembered that like when EA was first founded, again, Electronic Arts, the entire idea was to position like the creation of video games and related software as like art. They made that part of their business plan. They really wanted to hone in on that. And now here they are as like the ultimate example of games business being stripped for parts.
yeah.
Um, which, on a long enough time scale, any company that gets large is going to eventually not resemble its founding principles in any capacity. But like to go from there in the early days of video games, when all these like, ideas were first emerging, to this is like quite a journey. But also, you're talking about like the fact that there's not going to be an environment for these sorts of things anymore at the company, to the extent that there even was at this point. And the other big part of this news that really drives that home, I think, is that EA is being saddled with $20 billion in debt.
Yeah, this debt
Um,
thing, I
Ooh,
mean, it
yeah.
feels like a death knell. Like, how are they gonna deal with this?
yeah, and
It
like
feels like
they're going,
exactly what happened to Toys R Us. Like,
yeah,
literally exactly.
Fucking Gawker,
um,
whatever. Not
Yeah.
Gawker specifically, but you know what I mean. Like, just all of these, like, yeah, this never ends well. I saw someone being like, well, we don't know the details yet. And I was like, but we know where it's going. You know what I mean?
right,
We
right.
have a good sense of where it's going. It's probably, I agree, we don't know, but it's probably not good.
No, no. I mean, like that's a ridiculous amount of debt. And yeah, like the company will probably, as a result, slowly or quickly disintegrate. It's interesting though to then, from that perspective, kind of wonder what's going on, because I've seen some theories floated that the reason Saudi Arabia got in on this isn't just for like sports washing purposes, though that makes sense given
Yeah.
again that they have taken over a bunch of other sports, including golf and pro wrestling and all this stuff, increasingly boxing and MMA. Um, and then like there's the fact that they get access to Madden, for example, like one of the biggest. And so the theory that I saw is people saying, well, they haven't taken over the NFL yet, and they want an in, and Madden could be that in. So this could all be a means to that end of just like
Yeah.
basically getting a bunch of context in the football world, and then being like, all right, now we're going to also wine and dine you guys and spend a bunch of money and finally like have the crown jewel in our sports empire.
I know a few years ago, the government of Saudi Arabia established a Middle East baseball league, essentially, where they courted a lot of retired baseball players from America and the Dominican Republic to play in what seemed like a handful of like exhibition games, essentially, in Saudi Arabia. So it does seem like the sports the sports aspect is the thing that's most important to them. They
Hmm.
have used this fulcrum as a way to sports wash all of the human rights violations in Saudi Arabia, that they sports are just like a very important aspect of that process.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
mean,
it goes into other parts of the entertainment industry as well, like the comedy festival in Riyadh that's going. Has a lot of comedians are so angry at their peers for taking this money.
oh man, though, like the comedians who did take it, Jesus, did y'all read that article on The Guardian this week
No,
that like quoted a bunch of the comedians who decided to take the money?
I know
Like
Bill
it is
Burr's
some of the most
justification
blatant
is
cynicism that I have ever
wild.
read. It's so gross. Like let me wait. I got to pull up some of the pieces or some of the portions
Yeah,
that I
I
like
know.
quoted on Blue Sky because I was reading this and I was like, holy shit! I can't believe they're just saying it. Like they
Yeah.
do not care anymore.
Bill Burr is the person that came the closest to having a reasonable through line, but even he is just like, he comes off as wildly racist, so it like doesn't
Racist
matter.
and also like incredibly naive in a way that his
Yeah.
entire persona does not seem to otherwise betray.
Yes, exactly. Where it's like, man, you are just dumb. Like, if this is true, you're just a dumb guy.
Yeah, but I don't buy that. I don't think that he's
Yeah.
that dumb. I think that
No,
the check
I
was so
think he
big.
wanted the money.
Yeah, the check was so big that he was like, "All right, I'm gonna pretend to be someone else for a little bit."
Mm-hmm.
They
You know,
drove
and
a tru-
I
they drove a truck of money
Yeah,
to
okay,
my
okay.
house. I'm not made of stone.
So here we go.
exactly.
Here we go.
I
Here are the
quote that
quotes.
so frequently, Chris.
This shit's nuts. Okay, some comics were transparent about their willingness to ignore their moral convictions in order to play at the festival. So what? They have slaves? Asked Tim Dillon in a podcast segment that led to his firing from the festival. They're paying me enough money to look the other way.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Pete Davidson offered a similar take, acknowledging in a chat with Theo Vaughn that people have asked him why, given his father's death on 9/11, he would take a paycheck from the Saudi government. He did not address the criticism directly, but he did suggest he was happy to forget 9/11 for the right price. I just
Wow.
know I just know I get the routing and I see the number and I go, I'll go.
It's not never forget anymore. It's conditionally forget.
Now,
How
here's the
many
one that just
zeros
like
are we talking
blew
about?
this one just like knocked my brain out of my head. Let's see. DeStefano, I'm not sure what their first name is. It doesn't really matter. Chatting with another comedian, joked that an upside of the kingdom's repression of women is that his fiance can't come with him. Mark Normand, on the other hand, joked he would bring his wife to show her how good she has it in America. I want to be like, you see, you think I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. Well, they'll cut your clit off, bitch. That's a thing somebody said. That is a thing somebody said publicly.
Don't do that.
I don't like
Don't
that.
produce
I don't
those words,
like it.
man.
Absolutely insane.
Like it. Gianmarco Ceresi has been going absolutely buck wild on social media, and so is Jay Jordan, who is so funny. Jay Jordan has just been saying which comedians are on the DL in response to all of this, which is hilarious. But it this is clearly gearing up, right? Like this is something that they're trying to really put a concerted effort into.
I mean, they already are, and like
Yeah.
the thing is, it's worked. So I'm not sure if this piece is ever going to see the light of day because it's really hard to source. But I've been working on a piece in conjunction with my former colleague from the Washington Post, Mikhail, trying to like track down how much people were paid, how much streamers and now also commentators were kind of paid to be involved with the Esports World Cup, which is the Saudi government's, esports extension that happens every year. And I mean, the numbers that I have heard are, big, but not that big. Like we're talking for commentators, like 25 to 35K for a week of work, which is like, that's good money. Don't get me wrong. But the telling thing that I, heard from one of my conversations with like a very big League of Legends commentator is that, like he was like, this year I feel like kind of one of the final holdouts. Like last year, a lot of people sort of took a principled stand and said, I'm not going to engage with this. I'm not going to take the money, whatever. And this year, there are just so far fewer that did that.
Yeah,
Most of them just took the money, and like it's been increasingly normalized in esports, as it has in all these other places. It's just like
they start with
money
these
plus
like
persistence,
these,
and
like,
then eventually it wears away at people.
they start with these like niche entertainment properties, like professional wrestling, which is lucrative but is like a niche entertainment product. Esports, again, lucrative but niche entertainment product, and now they're just seeing what they can get. How much more can they get for the same money? It turns out like a fucking lot.
There's
Well, they're
also
also
this
going for
element.
everyone now because they realize they have a foothold. So I mean,
Yeah.
again, I wrote about this for the site, but like,
Mm.
at their big business conference this year, like one of their major speakers was Hideo Kojima, who they
Yeah.
could not have gotten in previous
Embarrassing.
years.
Yeah.
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 Um, and like I have talked to some big streamers and like, oh yeah, like they approached everybody of my size and bigger. And like some of these streamers don't even do esports stuff. It's just like, yeah, you're big, so they reach out to you. Like
They
they're
just
going for everyone.
Yeah.
they just sent Kojima a bunch of like pictures of dinners that he could have.
Yeah.
In elaborate places, just like all the. No, I guess the thing that I do
Sorry.
just like, hey, hey, look at this cool place you could just take an Instagram photo with, like, I don't know, Hunter Schafer with.
With your,
Although
I was
Hunter
about
would
to
never.
say, with your dear friend Hunter
Hunter would never.
Schafer,
Yeah.
dear friend and
But
collaborator.
I don't know. The thing I will say is that it's been interesting to watch the reaction from comedians, because I feel like it feels downwind of something bigger, which is like maybe too, it's a tangent too far, which is like all the sort of like anti-Rogan stuff. And I think that's why the Burr thing kind of felt nasty, because Burr's been pretty like,
Yeah.
like, what the
He's been
fuck are
pretty
you doing?
vocal on that side. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think a lot of people are just realizing how evil comedy is right now. Like really,
Yeah.
really actively evil. Did you see the TikTok of the sand hands? Like they had a thing of sand. It was like, I think it was
No.
Dave Chappelle, and like I think it was one of the one of the people there, one of the reigning monarchs, is a TikTok, and it was just him putting his hand in like a pan of sand, and I was like, and it's like really weirdly lit, and it feels so ominous. Like I'm sure it's a metaphor or something like deeply personal,
Oh,
but
like when they all were grabbing that orb. Remember?
it's
for
very
some
orb
Trump's
adjacent
first
in that way. I
Yeah.
don't want to go too deep into like how it makes me feel, because I feel like that could go in an unhealthy direction, but it's very
Chappelle just also in all the photos of him in Saudi Arabia, he just has like the deadest looking eyes. He
Yeah.
looks like his soul is not present in his
Yeah, but
body.
he's seemed that way for a while.
Yeah.
yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing too, is like with a lot of these comedians, they're all big enough names that they don't need this money.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point? What are you getting out of this while also selling your soul? I don't understand at that level. I mean, I'm sure that, again, as we've seen with other hyper rich people, something changes in you and pursuit of money becomes your entire life. But I just can't imagine it to be like, yeah, I've already got fucking, 3 mansions and every
Yeah,
car
I
anybody
mean,
could ever want, and the ability to.
especially in the case of Bill Burr, who has principles. Like, you don't need that money. I know you
Right.
don't need that money. You were in a Star Wars property. You do not need that money. There's
Yeah.
no reason for you to take this money. You could headline any comedy festival in the United States. You just had a special come out. You don't need this money. So why are you doing this?
Right. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, it's just so strange. At least with like, the esports people that I've talked to, and streamers to a lesser extent, because a lot of them are big enough that they also don't need the money. In some cases, you can see why. That's the reason. I mean, the esports being taken over by Saudi Arabia makes a degree of sense in that all the other money left esports.
Yeah.
And so if you are looking to gain a foothold in the electronic entertainment industry or whatever, like that's where you start. Because like, oh yeah, they need us badly. They'll take anything. But yeah, comedians like this, what are you doing?
Aziz
Why?
Ansari, you have a movie with Keanu Reeves in it coming out like really soon.
We were
You do not
already
need- you have Parks and Rec money.
we were all ready to forget that weird article, I think, at this
Yeah.
point, for being like not
Sourcing that. Much respect to Katie Way, who is now at
Yeah.
Hellgate, who is like really a wonderful journalist. But the publication that allowed the article to go to print in the way that it was, with the
Yes, of
sourcing that
course.
it had, was like not being very responsible.
Yes.
And we were all ready to just be like, okay, well, we don't necessarily want you to be a movie star, Aziz, but we're ready to tolerate your presence, just generally.
It was I for the record love Katie, but the quote, it was more just that really strange borderline of like what was like, you can never, we don't ever want to hear you again, versus I would like, there's a really weird space in terms of it, and it's just like I think he'd almost weathered that out. I don't know, it's like it's a strange
Yeah.
It
Well, I
was
mean,
weird. You
Yeah,
know,
he
he
like
just
he just
Exactly.
disappeared.
he just disappeared, and now it's like, all right, now, all right, everyone forgot about it. Good, now here. It's just like
Yeah,
that's the
I'm
thing that
back,
gets me.
and
It's
I'm
is
still annoying.
hey.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
um,
you know,
you,
in some ways, seeing Saudi Arabia money go from just esports to other parts of the game industry is also not surprising. And that, as we'll see in the other news segment that we have on this podcast, they're fucking hurting for money. Even the largest corporations that make gaming products would like to have more of your money now, please.
yeah.
Um,
It's also just line go. I mean, it's basic line go up stuff as
yeah,
always. But yeah,
yeah,
although again, now while being saddled with $20 billion in debt, wonder
yeah,
how that's going to go. Well, because also they're going private, so there won't be a line anymore for EA.
hmm,
But it's just a new internal line. Like it doesn't really change. It's the same forces of capitalism applied a
yeah,
little bit differently.
yeah.
But yeah, actually, the other commonality here that's worth pointing to, that's going to be especially, I think, relevant to EA's whole situation, is that they're also saying like, oh, well, yeah, we have all this debt. Yeah, we need to like make big games quickly. We're going to have AI do that. That is a big part of what their plan seems
Oh
to be.
God.
It's
And
over,
like,
bro.
there's, as ever, no evidence that that actually works in any capacity. EA was moving in this direction even before the acquisition. I remember running a piece about their like they had this weird demo last year where it was like they made a world out of boxes using AI
Oh
tools, and they were
yeah, I
like,
remember
"Look
that
at how cool
demo.
this is. We're gonna be able to do this and that with AI." And it's like this looks like dog shit, man. This looks absolutely horrible. Like, what are we doing?
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. EA's
it,
cutting edge. Oh yeah, it wasn't even actual. It was just a concept for AI. They made it in engine. They people put it together. It was just like maybe someday AI will be able to do this. And it's like that's the best you could come up with? A pile of boxes?
yeah.
Sorry,
Bears and Jars in chat has a good comment that I think we should consider. Possible silver lining in the EA stuff. I hope this means that BioWare could spin off. What do you think about individual studios jumping ship from EA as a reaction to
I
this?
mean, that would be super cool, but they never allow it. Like,
Yeah.
they still have name value. They're going to hold on to that for as long as possible. No, I mean, BioWare already is a shell of its former self. It's down to under 100 people. They will either let it finish Mass Effect and then shut it down, or they won't even let it do that. It depends on probably their own internal like predictions for how well Mass Effect is going to do.
Yeah, I'm sad. I'm just sad. I'm sad about this stuff. The last Dragon Age really was, you could feel it in the game, like a studio trying so hard to appease so many different masters and coming up with something that was basically playable, a miracle that it came out, but didn't feel like a BioWare game meaningfully.
Yeah.
Um
Because it was also, yeah, as you're saying, like trying to please different masters, also trying to sew together like three different concepts for a
yeah.
game that had existed over the course of almost a decade.
Yeah, it's like the Chinese democracy of video games basically. It's
Yeah.
just you know,
the
like it's incredible that it came out. Incredible that it was a coherent story at all. Incredible that it had systems at work and it wasn't bugged to shit. But it was not. It was only barely a video game, like
yeah,
or barely a Dragon Age game.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. I will say. And also, sorry, I got like you ever see something on and you're just like it just knocks you out a little bit, and it's like Dave Chappelle criticizes free speech in America at Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. He was like,
Wait, is that a real thing that happened?
right now in America, they say you can't talk about Charlie Kirk, that you'll get canceled. I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna find out. It's easier to talk here than it is in America.
Oh my god!
Wow.
It's just I have a lot of
How
I
big
just
is
gotta
that
lay
check?
down. Oh my god!
fucking go to bed.
Ella the cat is in the
Okay,
corner
we
licking
even
her
chat just said it.
butthole.
Now that's funny.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Listen, I don't care if you're purple. I don't care where you're from. If you're from Mars, fun is funny.
Wait, Ella, my beautiful cat has been just loudly grooming her butthole this entire time, and I think that's the correct response to that
Yeah,
statement.
that is the correct response to everything happening in Saudi Arabia. That
In
is
the
the correct
world.
response to any Dave Chappelle set.
Oh my god. Just put him out of his misery. Like, why are you
Put him out
doing
of
this?
our misery.
You can just go and live on your weird farm. Like your strange Ohio ass. Was it Ohio, Indiana? I always forget.
It's Ohio.
Yeah.
It's Ohio. I went to college in Ohio, and I would meet people that said that like they're from Ohio and would run into Dave Chappelle in the weird town he moved to. I wrote an article for Vice actually about a town hall meeting that Dave Chappelle made an appearance at to aggressively disagree with the building of a low-income housing complex.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's been opposed to that for a long time.
Yep, he's a real
that's like one of
NIMBY.
his big things that he does locally. And I've
Yeah.
seen people like make the argument. Well, I mean, first of all, like you should always just welcome low income housing. That's good.
Yeah.
But then like that's also well anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Dave Chappelle is just a at this point pile of garbage.
Versus
real shame.
Yeah.
He used to be funny.
Versus
Yeah.
George Lucas, who explicitly built affordable housing to piss off his rich neighbors.
Hell
I
yeah.
love George Lucas. I'm not even joking.
George
I
Lucas rocks.
absolutely love him. He rocks. The big rumor is that for the cinema museum that he's building in Los Angeles, he's going to include some of his collection of experimental and avant-garde films that he owns in his private library in the museum, which I'm so excited for it. The reason why you're able to see stuff like Stan Brakhage on actual reels is because George Lucas maintains a lending library for colleges of experimental films.
Yeah.
He's a fucking cool ass dude.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
If you're sufficiently rich and cool, you just make sure that like these things are maintained. Like you are the person who pays for it. That's the end goal. That's like the fucking I'm going to like finance like restoration of really
Right.
crucial works.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do that and just be liked.
Yes,
And yet-
it really is. It's like the same thing as the J.K. Rowling thing. It's like you could have just shut up. You could have just not said anything ever, and now you are aggressively every day reminding the entire world why you're a horrible person.
Yep, it was baffling. Just like Microsoft's decision to suddenly raise the price of Game Pass by 50%
You
for
could
Game
have
Pass
just done
Ultimate.
nothing. You could have done nothing. I remember yesterday in our staff meeting, you were trying to explain like the changes to me, and you said something like they introduced points, and at that point I was like, no, I don't need any of that.
What kind of like really drives it home to me in terms of how they're doing all of this is that they still have Game Pass Ultimate that now costs $30, used to be $20. This is per month, so that's a huge leap. And then they also renamed 2 other tiers. So Game Pass Core is now Game Pass. Wait, let's see. What are they? I've got to pull this. Oh yeah, Game Pass Core is now Game Pass Essential, and Game Pass Standard is now Game Pass Premium. What rules about this is that you could now construe every tier of Game Pass as being the best one based on its name, because Essential, Premium, and Ultimate all sound like they are the main one. So that's
so
super
needlessly
cool.
confusing. Okay, can you just break down the changes for me, because I don't know that I understand.
I will say before we continue, I think Gersman was the fastest to go Xbox $360 a year.
Yes. Yeah,
Which it
I've also
is.
seen Xbox turn 360 degrees and walk away.
Yeah.
I've heard, of course, Xbox Game Pass.
I liked the image that you made for our post on Blue Sky, which is just ass.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So the main changes are the price increase, which does come with like some new features, basically a bunch of new games, and then also you get Fortnite crew membership, which they made sure to mention in their like blog post is an $11.99 value. So actually that it pays for itself already, assuming that you like to play Fortnite a lot, which, that's a big
A
assumption.
lot of people do, but not
Oh
me.
yeah. Another cool thing is that PC Game Pass is also going up in price.
The good
from
one.
$12 to $16, and nothing is changing about it. It's just
The
going up in
actual
price.
good
Is it
one.
worth
Just the good the one that, if let's be honest, like I don't know who buys Xboxes at this point. I think fewer and fewer people do because they're fucking expensive and you can just buy a PS5.
Right.
Like really just you can find them. They're not that hard. And also like So like what do you do in Game Pass for it? And it's
Right.
like for
And
me
so,
it's like
well, this
PC.
is why.
It's PC. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
but I
And so,
don't. I haven't because they're doing genocide. But like
yep.
when I did, the PC one was the one I got because I have a fucking PC. Because at this point, if you're gonna get an Xbox, you might as well get an okay PC.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
this is the thing.
yeah.
This is why Microsoft has leaned into their like strategy of like anything is an Xbox or everything is an Xbox. They have cars that are Xboxes now. They're very proud of that for some
Are you
reason.
an Xbox?
Might
I'm
be.
trying my best not to be. And if I become an Xbox one day, if you start to notice the signs,
Oh my
then
god.
just
It'll be a
get it
Lenny
over with.
situation. It's very of mice and men,
New
Just think
Jack
of the
City,
rabbits.
Wesley
Just
Snipes.
think of the rabbits.
hmm But yeah, so they're leaning into this strategy, and so they're trying to like convince people that everything is an Xbox, and they're trying to grow the user base of Game Pass so that it can kind of take over as the main thrust of the entire Xbox project. But then at the same time, pretty clearly what has happened here is that they are at loggerheads with the fact that Game Pass, despite their repeated insistence, is still not profitable, because you wouldn't do something like this if Game Pass was profitable.
Yeah.
And like earlier this year, people asked a lot of questions about that because Rafael Contonio, formerly of Arcane, like went on a big rant about how much Game Pass is like not actually what it presents itself to be in terms of Microsoft's bottom line. And so then Chris Dring of the game business asked them like, hey, so like, is it profitable? And they're like, well, like if you subtract first party stuff from it, and it's like, then it's not profitable.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like that means that and also it's definitely not profitable if you factor in that you bought Activision Blizzard.
I know.
Like,
God, it's so interesting to me. Like console wars, essentially, they feel dead and pointless because
Yeah, they are.
it is true that their PS5 has basically no exclusive games, but it doesn't matter clearly. Like it is just an object that people like and prefer playing their video games on. If you are a person that's a gamer and a console gamer primarily, you want the PS5. I have both systems because I was working for Vice at the time when these systems were launching, and I were able to get a free console for everybody at on staff, which was something that I don't feel like is ever going to happen to me again. I have not ever turned on my Xbox. Like I've turned on like maybe 3 times. I just like it. It feels cheap, and I don't like playing games on it. I just prefer the PS5. Is it true that the PS5 has, quote, no games? I mean, yes, I guess so. Doesn't matter to me.
It has one game. It has Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I still haven't finished.
It has Elden
I will
Ring.
someday, before I sell my PlayStation 5, because I was thinking about this last night, and I was like, I need to make more money. What can I sell? I was like, well, I don't really use my PlayStation 5, but I'd be upset to lose my save file. So I should finish it first, then sell it.
Adaptive triggers are good on exactly 2 games, and in those 2 games, they're great. But you could also play that on your PC, so who cares?
Yeah, the PC is the true winner of the console war, if there is such a thing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, like even now, right? We're talking about these consoles and the extent to which anyone, at least that we use them. There's also the fact that like tariffs are making them more expensive, not less. You would figure at this point in a console's life cycle, the prices would be going down, but because of tariffs, they're going up. The Xbox Series X is like $650 now, which is bonkers.
Also, the naming convention for the Xbox is so confusing and always has been. And
also, that doesn't make sense relative to like the Pro. Like you could just get like if you cared about that shit, you know what I mean? Like it's not like I don't know. I'm sorry. It really annoys me because it's like they didn't. It's not the same. You know why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Just gonna use PlayStation 5. It's fine.
A larger point that I made in my piece about all of this is that like if you want Game Pass to supplant pre-existing hardware, at least become kind of the default offering, you would kind of hope that it would be outside the same or a similar like price range to your hardware. But like the lower end of the Xbox is like $400 and used to be a little bit lower than that, and then $360 for Game Pass. It's like you may as well just buy the box, especially if you're not planning to buy, the equivalent of like 5 games per year, which a lot of people aren't. A lot of people just want to like get Grand Theft Auto. And so already at that point, Game Pass is a bad offering. And then everything else is also expensive. Microsoft announced their new handheld, their version of the ROG Ally. There will be 2 flavors of that. The low end is $600, and the high end is $1,000. Do you want to spend $1,000 on a handheld
dudes.
gaming console?
I do,
I
but I don't.
don't.
I do, but I don't want it to be that one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Like that's the thing is like I'm not gonna fucking spend $1,000. Like here's the thing. Like I understand the rationale from the perspective of tariffs are pretty big. Like I don't want to be the person to defend this fucking thing, but like price wise, like okay, how much does a laptop cost? How much does a really nice one cost? What is this power? How much power are you getting out of this? Yada yada yada. I still think it's a bad deal, but I kind of see where these things are trending, particularly if you look at other sort of higher end handhelds where it's like, yeah, they want to like outchase the like performance lag of something like the Steam Deck or until the Steam
But
Deck.
even then, like I've yet to see one of these like even higher end handhelds like generationally leap over the Steam Deck. I think
Right,
you're still
I
going to
understand.
like be able to play roughly the same games and get a fairly similar experience whether you are dropping, Steam Deck was down to like almost just $300 recently on sale, whereas $1,000 for this thing, and I still feel like they would run, for example, Clair Obscur pretty comparably, which is to say not optimally, and you're sort of like, well, this isn't like I'll play it this way, but I'm not gonna, be thrilled.
Yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, what I'm more interested in at this point is I want a better handhold for playing Moonlight because my fucking PC can already do that shit,
Love
and
Moonlight, yeah.
Moonlight rocks.
Yeah.
And so I'm more interested in that sort of middle range, like the Odin, like those higher end of the Abernuric kind of things, because to be honest, they fit in your hand better. These things are fucking huge. I'm sick of things being tablets. I want something to be like a Vita.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's just this element of like, I don't know, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing here is like the thing I think about the most when I think of Microsoft's place, and I feel bad because like I really like a lot of the studios that they own and like the people that they hire, and like these are people who clearly don't want to have anything to do with either genocide or the fact that these fucking people don't know what they're doing, or they're tied to this AI product that like they what was it, vibe working.
Yep. That's been added to the Office suite. So now Excel and Word and everything like that. Yeah, there's a new vibe working feature.
Vibe working, come on, brother.
Yeah, I can't wait to make an Excel spreadsheet with something that's right like 52% of the time. That's really gonna turn out great.
David Graeber in heaven just shaking his head. His fucking work is fake. Just like, work has never been less fake.
Yeah, it's.
I'm glad that he didn't live to see this history of everything.
Because he would have been because it would have fucking killed him.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. We all are sick, by the way. All of us. So
I'm not.
Thank you.
Not.
Oh wait, Chris Person is healthy.
Except my foot, which has 5 pins in it.
Yeah. But soon you'll be able to walk again. We're all really excited for this.
2 weeks, and then they're gonna remove the threaded screws that are in the bones in my foot, and it's going to be weird. But then I get to walk almost immediately, which is really weird.
That's honestly beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you. Our dear friend Chris Person, we saw him at a party on a rooftop in the weird peg leg that he has to use to walk around. And no one's ever been more dedicated to seeing their friends than Chris Person.
I went to a techno festival for 3 days.
Oh my god, I forgot. You went to a fucking techno festival.
The cabin was on a fucking hill, and I had to do this little shimmy walk to get up it with like trekking poles every single time.
Hey,
I'm so
Chris,
proud of you.
This sounds a lot like kind of a video game you've been playing.
Yes.
Yeah,
wait.
The way that you were taking some baby steps, perhaps, to get there.
Bam! That's why you get paid the okay bucks. Sure. The reader supported, perfectly acceptable. Whatever. No, yeah, I'm playing Baby Steps. That game rocks. I love that I was playing Silk Song and was like, hold on, I need to go play Baby Steps.
Right, something even more like masocore.
I disagree, really actually. Funny. I disagree, and that's because it's a really well-written game about the kind of person who thinks like that. Like, I don't know. It's a FODdy game, although not simply FODdy. Other people are involved with it.
Yeah, it's a whole crew.
It's a whole crew.
We have on the site an interview with the sound designer Maxi Bach, who has some incredible things to say about developing the sounds that the game makes when your character slides down a river of breast milk. It's a great interview. You should definitely read it. It's on the site right now.
Okay, we're gonna get a little, not super spoilery, but a little spoilery. So just a heads up. But okay, so the basic premise is that you are like an emotionally immature man who lives at home, watches One Piece, and smokes a lot of weed.
Okay, but sorry, what am I in the game?
You are with a huge ass. Just the juiciest ass you've ever seen.
That is different.
You gotta work on your glutes, dude.
In the pajamas that like an old timey prospector would wear, who looks kind of like Guillermo del Toro if he was ginger and white, like that way. You know, he's just like
I see.
You know
the
what
vision.
I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
And so,
I see it.
So it is a game where it's sort of an isekai. He gets just zonked into what is functionally like a weird, I guess you would describe it as an infinitely recursive Australia. And he gets dropped there. He wakes up and left trigger and right trigger will lift your leg. Left and right leg. And sorry, somebody said something very funny in chat.
Yeah.
We were both responding to the same thing.
We were all responding to the same thing.
Apple Cider Witch said, I am tempted to play Baby Steps, but I was in a relationship for 14 years, and do I need to take care of another man? No.
It is a great... Okay. So this is an emotionally, like, lives with his parents, you know, kind of like... The setting they go back to is this, like, weird, dank basement cave. You know what I mean? Like, he's a basement dweller guy. And he gets dropped into this weird, like, fictional Australia where you can lift your left and right legs with the left and right trigger. It uses the adaptive triggers beautifully, so you actually get resistance on those things a little bit. It's really nice. For people who don't know, the adaptive triggers are in the DualSense. They have, like, little motors in them to press there. If you are using them correctly, it really adds a lot to the game. A lot of people don't, though. And so, yeah, like Returnal used them really well to the point where there were... Returnal used them so fucking well. Like, it makes me upset. So anyway, he gets there and like this guy just shows up. You know, you lift your right leg with R2. You can move it with the left stick and then you place it down. You lift the left leg with L2, move the left stick forward, put it down.
Cameron... It's a design evolution from what Fadi has been doing since QWOP.
Yes. Yeah. Although I would argue this is his most organic feeling game because when you actually do get into the momentum of it, like QWOP is against you. You know, like all of his
QWOP
games...
is oppositional. It is
GURP,
aggressively fighting you.
You know, even getting over it are abstractions. And this is the first time I've ever felt something that once you actually click with you, it does feel like you're walking, like intentionally. Like it feels like going on a hike. It's really very, very strange. And I'm fascinated with how well it works. And I think it's I don't always click with every Fadi game. This is the one that I think I've clicked with the most. And so you meet this guy. He's like Australian Kiwi guy. He's just like, hey, brother, you know, you must have a lot of questions. Anyway, here, let me explain them to you. And your guy goes, no, I'm okay. Thank you. And he's just like, but don't you want to know anything about where you are? And he's like, no, I'm okay. I just need to use the bathroom. And he's like, I mean, I guess you could just go that way. And he's like, okay, thanks, bye. And you're playing a guy who doesn't want help. You are playing a man who is emotionally unable to accept help. And
this hurts to hear about. Like, I'm so mad already.
Who needs to go to the bathroom a lot. And every time he meets another person, he's like, they're like, you're outside. Why don't you just pee anywhere? And he's like, no, I want to find a real toilet.
Oh my God.
And the whole game, also, when you start the game, you will be told that there is nudity in the game and that you have the ability to censor it or not. And it is real ass nudity. It is a lot of nudity. It is almost unnecessary. And it is utilized aggressively to make you uncomfortable.
God. Wait, is it like Dewey Cox, giant penis in the 1/3 of the screen for no reason style stuff?
Yes, except it's in like every scene after a certain point.
Great. Okay,
It's
fantastic.
fucking sick. I don't want to say more. It just you want to click yes. Unless you're streaming, in which case do not do that.
Yeah,
It
in
will
which
get
case
you in
will
trouble.
get banned.
You will
Yes,
get in trouble.
and immediately, yeah.
And
God,
no,
this
and
seems like an evil game.
it's not.
really
No, it is
exciting.
not. It is not. It is a like I'm still finishing it. We'll talk about why in a second, but it is a beautiful game because it is a game telling you, please, for the love of God, accept help. Please, for the love of God, try to do things in a way that makes sense. But it keeps dangling little challenges in front of you. Like, if, for example, you can get a hat, for example. The hats in this game are in weird places. If you walk to the next save point with the hat on, you will get a dream that is like some crucial trauma that existed in his life. And it's all done in a kind of Amiga-esque way. But in order to do that, you have to keep the hat on your head through the entire time. And sometimes the hat falls off and you have to go pick it up again. You don't have to do that. You could just keep walking. But if you want to relitigate your trauma, you got to wear that hat. You got to wear that propeller beanie. You got to put that propeller beanie on. You have to navigate your way to the next save point where you drink a weird cauldron of milk. And
This is just about masculinity.
it is
right?
about
Like, this is
masculinity. It's
about
really fucking good. It
what-
is.
that like the trap that masculinity forces you into.
They made basically, they are putting Silent Hill and like mouth-washing ass characterization in what is functionally a comedy. And that to me is really successful because I feel like it's a thing that only horror games are allowed to do, is to sort of be like, how was this person hurt? Why are they like the way they are? What led to the circumstances that let them, be in this perpetual state of arrested development, which is what it is about.
Yeah.
And to me, and it's also very magical realist. You will see like fantastical things. There's a part of it that looks suspiciously like Storm King, which I thought was very nice. There's just a weird sculpture garden, which I thought was very cool.
Nice.
I'm going to talk about something that I've been posting about all week, though.
Oh my god, yes. I've been so excited to hear about you talking about this.
You're the unnecessary challenge that you have been embarking on.
Yeah. So anyway, the mid part of the game, you'll see this big stairwell in the distance. And if you want to not spoil this for yourself, go ahead, skip ahead, or, just go do something else. It's a big green spiral staircase that has a red light at the top. And the game is very good at sort of funneling you into directions. You know what I mean? Like, you can go anywhere, but it also loops in an interesting way. Like the world is kind of interestingly constructed. You get there eventually after many, many kind of like cruel, weird falling down hills. Also, you can't die. There's no fall damage. But you will constantly just be climbing the mountain. You'll slip and you'll fall. Okay. You get to the top of the mountain and there's this guy. This guy has been trying to help you the whole fucking game. He's been like, hey, do you want a lantern? You're going into like a really dark place. And he's like, no, I don't want to, they'll make fun of me. I forget what it's kind of like Taika Waititi adjacent writing, parentheses complimentary, not like later. And you get to the stairwell and he's literally, the guy's like, hey, check out this rad stairwell that I have made. It's great. It goes straight to the top of the mountain. And he's like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, really? And he goes, yeah, I'll just take that path over there. And you just kind of indicate a really fucked up, evil looking path. And he goes, that's the man breaker. They call it that on account of how many men it has broken. And he's like, yeah, I'll just take that. It's fine. I want the hike. and he's like, you know what? Never mind. You can't use my stairwell. And your guy goes, well, maybe I will. And he's like, if you do, you have to call me Lord. And he's like, fine, be that way. And so the game is giving you a choice. Mm-hmm. Would you like to go up the stairwell that takes like, I want to say 5 or 6 minutes to get up to the top? Or do you want to see what happens when you go up the man breaker?
Oh boy. Chris, what was the choice that you made?
Well,
I'm interested.
I know what the game is telling me intellectually, but I am a writer, and so I have to see both outcomes. And believe it or not, when I started, there were not a lot of clearing videos of the Manbreaker. Not a lot of people who had been passed on the Manbreaker. It is one of the most beautifully designed things I've ever seen in my life. Like, in a game. Like, hands down, I love it. Because, like, from a design perspective, okay, there's another character in this game who's like I guess you would call him a hiker. He's also he's one of the only other people that's like in the world. And the Manbreaker goes back and forth in increasingly evil ways. And the footholds themselves, from foothold to foothold, aren't always that hard. There's a handful of congestion points that you learn really quickly. Like, there's one where you have to do kind of like a flurry kick. Like, it's like you're climbing up a hill, and if you stay too long on each one, you'll sort of slide down. So you have to do this thing where you just kind of scurry up. That one, I saw somebody say, like, they fell on that more than, like, the big boss in Sekiro. Like, it has fucking owned them so many times. But when you get down to the motion of it, it's fine. Halfway up, there is a point at which the stairwell sort of intersects with the Manbreaker. And if you took, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, if you take the Manbreaker, or if you are on the stairs, at that point, the hiker will be on the Manbreaker. And you'll be like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, oh, I'm just on the path. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm just taking the stairs. It's like, oh yeah, I know you could do that, but like, man, it's so nice to be on the path. Like, sometimes when you're just a hiker, you just get locked in, and like, you really see it. And he's like, yeah, this is kind of challenging too. I mean, I kind of like it. And he's like, all right, well, maybe I'll throw myself off the mountain and come back up next time. Give it a shot. See how it is. Okay. If you're on the path, you will see him on the stairwell. And he will say to you, hey, what are you doing on the path? And he said, you'll say, oh, I just like exercise. And he was like, oh, well, the guy told me I couldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. And so regardless of what choice you make, you are bullied into thinking you're taking the wrong one.
Oh, great.
But you are tempted by your masculinity. And what's funny about it, as far as I understand, I need to double check this. If you go up the stairwell, you get an achievement. If you beat the Manbreaker, you get nothing.
I love it! God,
that's amazing.
So
it is genius.
That's phenomenal.
It is genius. And what's also quite nice is that there is a point, and something I want to interrogate, is that once you get that little cutscene, you can kind of use the stairwell as a shortcut. Because the problem with the Manbreaker isn't that the thing that really gets you is not that the Manbreaker is hard from step to step. It's that the beginning becomes tedious after a really long time, because you know how to blast through that. It takes about 12 minutes to get up to the top if you don't fuck up a single foothold. It's very easy to fuck up a single foothold. It's very easy to be complacent. Somebody said that it helped them with emotional dysregulation, and I kind of agree, because after a certain point, you can't be mad at it. Like, you don't you have an out this whole time. This is a prison of your own creation.
It does remind me of every time you fail in the climbing game that Benefati made.
Getting over it.
Getting over it. He would read a quote about failure, and you would be forced to think about failure every single time you failed, and the nature of your own failure, and whether or not you wanted to keep doing it. What I love about Getting Over It is at the end of the game, you get to leave him a voicemail. And just say anything you want to him.
Yeah, it's really. I saw someone say that they thought the game's a little easier than a lot of his other stuff. I think that has to be the case, because like that's what the game's narrative is about. But now has anybody ever seen the Northern Line video that somebody set to was it like internet?
You mean his Sisyphus simulator video, or do you mean a different one?
Yeah.
Get It Twisted. Get It Twisted.
The ultimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the zone you get in when you're in the Manbreaker. Also, what's fascinating about the individual footholds, I'm going to blog about this, Get It Twisted, yes, is that the Manbreaker it has a bunch of things, like they'll just put a banana peel on things. There's a pizza box there that is like on the tip of a thing you need to step over that you can just I now will just kick off because I don't want to actually do it. I did test it. It is weight bearing. I fell off the mountain again. I have been here for
Mhm.
like at least 7 or 8 hours. I've spent the majority of my time on the Manbreaker at this point. I may not even finish the Manbreaker because I've gotten very close to the end. The last like 5 footholds are fascinating because what they do is one of them you have to like put your foot on a slope, slide down and catch it with the other foot. And the last series of footholds, there is something to fall on underneath. And it's about a 90% chance, I want to estimate, that you will not fall off the mountain. So he ramps up the difficulty at the end in like in a very fun way where he gives you some opportunity. Like, you're probably not going to do it. But like, there's compassion here. The compassion of the stairwell. There's the compassion of the foot, of like realizing that like they want to increase the difficulty without actually punishing the player for this challenge at the end. But then the last one is very easy to fall in. I saw Ian fall off.
Oh.
Giant Bomb Grub has been playing it in Giant Bomb, and then just like the interactions we've had together are just like, yeah. It's just like, but it does.
So funny.
It is strange because it's like it's noticing an ugly part of yourself, and this is the thing that, like, I think Silksong doesn't
Yeah.
do well. Is that this game does is sort of acknowledging having a more complicated and interesting articulation of what difficulty is and what it can be and what drives people to do it.
Yes. I think this is something that Souls likes don't the way that FromSoft games specifically and other Souls likes do generally is they tease you with the satisfaction of completing the challenge, and they say that's what's going to motivate you to do this. For me, psychologically, I know that that's not true. I happily have not finished Elden Ring because I just got to a fight where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I stopped. The idea of feeling satisfied after a job well done is not enough for me. I need someone to tell me that I'm not going to do it. I
Yeah.
need someone else to be like, I don't think you can do that. And then I will make it my life's mission to complete that task. No matter what it is, even if it's very simple to just live the rest of my life without having to do it. If someone else introduces the idea of doubting me into my brain space, I will go sicko mode. Like, that's what it is. I know that about myself. I am vain in that particular way. Baby Steps seems like it is appealing to that level of vanity.
I
It is.
enjoy that because we are very different people in this regard.
I will
I'm
also
like,
say
I'm gonna do the things I want to do, and if somebody's like, you're not gonna do that, I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
there's a 2-part episode of the anime Ranma One Half, and I would like to bring up here, and it's great. It's you know Ryoga. Ryoga, if you don't know, he's the guy that turns into the cute little pig.
I love him.
He's stupid as hell. He has no sense of direction. And at one point in season 2, which is one of the 3 good seasons before you have to just like make a playlist and skip all the filler episodes, Shampoo's grandma, who's this old lady, tries to teach him something called the breaking point technique. And the breaking point technique is something that was developed, like she claims is something that is developed to break a man. It's like a pressure point that makes a person explode. And she says, you want to defeat Ranma, you have to learn how to do this. And she teaches it to him. And the way that she teaches him, she brings him up to a mountain, and she like wraps him in like kind of like Shibori-esque thing. She hangs him from a rope with his 2 fingers out like this, and his arms extended. And then she takes a boulder and just keeps throwing it at him. And he's supposed to see where the breaking point is, hit it, and make the rock explode. And he keeps fucking doing it, and it keeps hurting him. But he will not quit. And the thing that's great about that is that when he finally does fight Ranma, who's also been training by like knocking down bees so that he can avoid being hit by it, he's functionally immortal now because he has been hit by the rock so many times. And when he finally does hit him with the breaking point technique, it doesn't work because it only works on rocks.
I love that. Oh my god.
But the whole point was the number of times he had to be hit by a rock in order to learn the technique. And that is what the Man Crusher is. By the end of it, you are so fucking good at this game. By the
Oh,
end of it,
absolutely.
you know exactly how to carefully. The great thing about this game, a lot of times you'll have to lift your leg up and move it over, and you have to use trigger depth to do it. And once you get that solid foothold, you're able to just lift yourself up, and it feels so fucking good. And that's what's so fucked up about this, is this thing that the game is telling me I do not have to do, I do not have to learn, is making me feel like a fucking god. It is making me feel zen. I'm locked in. Get it twisted, motherfucker. It is so good. That's why it's such a complicated level, is that it constantly is just making you're like, I could get up there, no problem. Might fall at the end. And then I just got less and less mad. It stopped being able to hurt me. It stopped being able to hurt me. And that is something really beautiful that makes it so complicated.
This is something I experienced when I was like, I practiced Kung Fu when I was in like high school. And there comes a certain point where they're doing conditioning and the man says 100 push-ups and you're like, okay, whatever. The first time you're just like pissed. You're like so angry that some man has told you to do 100 push-ups and you're like, I'm 14. Why do you think I can do this? Get the fuck out of my face. But really the thing is they wanted you to keep doing as many push-ups as you possibly can until you just start doing them on command.
I will say,
and that's it.
You should just real quick. There's a Canadian film from the '60s called Judoka that I think you should watch, because it's about Kimura, the judo guy. And it's about a Canadian guy training under Masahiko Kimura, who's like the Brazilians named the move that broke Helio's arm after.
Yeah. The Kimura, it's a very like common jiu-jitsu move.
Yeah, breaking the arms. Yeah. And there's one line I think about, because it's basically Judo Taxi Driver. It's a perfect film. It's a perfect short film. There is a part where they're all doing, I guess what you would call, what were historically called Hindu push-ups, which are like the diving push-ups. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, we do that in pole dancing, actually.
Yeah. And there's a part where they're doing those, and he goes, it's all voiceover, it's all black and white, and he goes, every day we do 500 push-ups. Some days he makes us do 1,000. This is unreasonable. He knows it is unreasonable. But the point is to go inside of yourself. To go to a point where you no longer exist. It's that Sun and Steel. It's like, I know it's kind of fascist, but like it is the whole like, I'm going to push myself until I no longer exist thing, and it's really.
This is why I run 13 miles every couple weeks.
It's the pain cave. It is the pain cave.
Yeah, I love going there.
No, man. I mean, this also sounds like what is it? The Smashing Machine, the new Safdie movie that's about to come out about.
That's based on a much better documentary.
It's a really good documentary. It is the most depressing. I think that and Small Town Ecstasy are the two most depressing documentaries I've ever seen. Yeah, you should watch the original documentary if you can. It's really fucked up.
Absolutely, I'm excited for whatever the fuck The Rock's getting up to. But
anyway, that's enough about.
I also know I do this is such a true thing. Even I take pole classes now, or I would if I was not hacking up phlegm like basically every day. And it is like a similar thing where it's like I am going to find out how to make my body do these things. I am going to climb this pole if it fucking kills me. And to get to that place where you can, using the grip strength of your arm and your armpit, grab the pole and climb up it, because you're not using your legs, you're using your armpit and your abs to do this. You have to go inside of yourself. That is something that is incredibly hard to do, and I want to accomplish this task, but I need to obliterate the self in order to get there.
You know what else we can go inside of? Yeah, that's right.
Boy.
I'm talking the mailbag.
Someday. I'm just
You're getting better at this. House. You're getting better at this.
I'm just having an on day. I've been trapped in my apartment all week because of illness, so I've got a million of them because I've not been able to use them on anyone.
Oh boy. Sorry.
Anyway. Yeah, right. Anyway, if you would like to participate in the mailbag, you can do so by subscribing to Aftermath, which you can do at aftermath.site/products. If you subscribe to our member tier, that will give you access to our Discord, where people can submit questions. Also, it's just super fun in there, so you should join because,
I like what else there. I posted pictures of my cute desk, and then everyone else posted pictures of their cute desk in the Discord. So you should probably join it. Yeah.
Yeah. Discord full of reasonable people. Where else are you going to find that?
Seriously.
Yeah. All right. From Mectroid. When you land an interview with somebody, how do you prepare? What are your personal metrics for what makes a good interview question? Yeah, I mean, when it comes to interviews, because I feel like there are two schools of thought. Some people just wing it. They're like, interviews are jazz. Just like whatever the vibe is, you go with it. I am a consummate homework doer. So if I know who the interview subject is going to be, which I usually do, then I look up everything. I like research all the other interviews they've done. I see what people are saying about the things that they are doing or the game they've made or whatever else on subreddits. Um, I make sure that I come as prepared as possible. I usually have between 10 and 15 more questions than I'm actually going to ask. And then I sort of bounce around between all of those based on the vibe of the interview and where it goes and what I think is most important. And then if there's time for sillier stuff or whatever, then I'll move into that. But the general rule of thumb, and I think a lot of interviewers follow this whether they've been trained to or not, is you start with a couple nice easy questions and then you move into the stuff that you actually want to ask about
Yep.
that will put them a bit on edge.
Yep. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not quite a complete wing it person. I usually know those difficult questions that I want to get to. But I try when I interview people, especially if I can do face to face, which is my personal preference for
Oh yeah,
interviews.
definitely.
I try to just disarm them. Like you go in and you just have a conversation. This was my favorite thing, talking to the people from Remedy. It was really perfect because you could just go in. They've been in pressers all day long. They're in fucking Finland. It's the middle of the night for them. And you go in and you're just like, hey, what music were you guys listening to when you made this game? Can you tell me about what kind of music you like? What kind of television shows do you like? Ask them really normal questions that you'd ask like a friend over a bar. And then you get into the meaty philosophical stuff. And that's how I get the most fun answers is if you get someone to forget that they're in a press context and get them to briefly believe that we're just hanging out. That's always what my goal is.
The best example of the research heavy approach paying off that I have is that piece that the interview that I ran with Ben Starr toward the end of last year with the headline, "Contrary to popular belief, Final Fantasy and Warframe voice actor Ben Starr is not a gerbil breeder." Because there was an entry in his Wikipedia that claimed that he was a gerbil breeder in university. And I was like, what? Oh yeah, he was president of the gerbil breeding club, basically, or society. And I was like, that seems interesting. I have to ask about that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a great place where for me, my favorite, I low-key sort of tricked the devs into going down this line of questioning was I was writing about sex and sexuality in the game Control, which has it feels after a while when you play that game and the game is so devoted to empowering this female character, it starts to feel really sexy. It starts to feel like a BDSM vibe. The game is called Control, And then I got in and I started asking them just normal questions about game development, questions about the characterization of Jesse, et cetera, and then I'm always like, oh, this might come off as a little weird, but doesn't it feel kind of cool and sexy to be such a powerful character? And then you can just, after you've disarmed these people and they feel like they're in a really, I don't know, an interview that's really going their way, you can slide into the weird shit when they don't even fucking notice. And then I get to write an article about the thing I actually want to write about, which is why playing games makes you feel really sexy sometimes.
Yeah. I also have a couple more general pieces of advice. One of them is so basic as to be banal, but it bears repeating, which is be a good listener. Your most powerful weapon in a lot of interviews are your follow-ups.
Absolutely.
People will say things that are interesting, pay attention to all of it. Don't zone out. Don't definitely don't go on your phone. If you go on your phone during an interview, you should be shot. But listen to all of that and then ask based on both the answers and the energy they're giving you. And then the other one, and this one is more morally questionable, but I've definitely used it to my advantage before. Sometimes people you're interviewing will decide that you are their therapist. And you can either shut that down because it's the right thing to do, or you can get a lot of really good stuff out of them
if you just talk.
Exactly.
Let them talk. Just let someone, especially if they're saying something that you think that they probably shouldn't be talking about, just let them talk.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt.
And,
they will keep
just
going.
Go straight into therapy mode too.
Just be
like
special.
Oh, I see.
I
That's
Yes. I mean, not
interesting.
like that blasely, but you get it.
Yeah.
I don't tend to. It's interesting because like most of the times I interview people personally, it's usually in the context of somebody who's doing something for free, that is like trying to not make money off of it, or if they do, it's in a really conditional and strange, weird way. And so I I tend to like ones where it's just kind of relaxing and I don't have to.
Yeah.
This is just me personally because it's mainly I'm just covering open source projects, and so for the most part, it's like, okay, why did you make this fucking weird firmware that
Yeah.
like but you can end up in a place where it's like, oh, this person decided to no longer make the project open source. What does that say? Or like you
And what was
can
your approach to talk to the people from Silvagunna?
Siva
Which
Gunner
is
is
yeah.
really strange. I talked about it in the interview, which is that like I wanted to talk to all of them, and so like I got with they made a Discord for me to talk to them all in, and so I would just ask questions, and we kind of figured out as the piece went on like how they would respond to them, and it was mainly me like asking a question, they would confer with each other, one of them would collectively decide to be the person on duty for that. So they would have queued up drafted questions that they then respond to me with. And so it's sort of like dovetailed nicely with how the actual structure of the organization worked, which was really nice.
Yeah. If you have the opportunity, if you're not in a time limit because of a PR person, it's wonderful to just let a conversation flow
Yeah.
and just
Yep. Oh,
talk
definitely.
over a series of several days.
Yeah. Or just like, whatever makes sense. But no, I mean, I've had interviews that, like, especially for my book, I had interviews that lasted for like 6 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
hung out on a couch, just talk for a while. Cause you start out, a lot of, some interviews, you have immediate chemistry with the person. And so it's pretty simple. Others, it starts out awkward because it's not a normal conversational
Yeah.
format. Like the idea of asking a question, getting an answer, and batting that back and forth. It's not how we usually talk. We usually just sort of go and somebody interjects and somebody has an idea and so on. Um, and so you've got to like get comfortable, and then eventually it can become more of a conversation. At which point, that's when you get the good stuff. But yeah, okay. From Seg. Now that it's spooky season, do you have a repeat Halloween game you always return to this time of year?
I'm
Um,
scared of scary games. I can't play them.
I'm playing Silent Hill
um,
F.
but is that a repeat one?
No,
I mean, it just came out,
I
so it
just
can't
wanted
be.
to bring it up. It's a really fucking good game. I'm
Yeah,
like
I've heard good
shocked.
things.
I'm like shocked at how good the writing is. I mean, I'm not because of who wrote it, but it's. I think we have a piece in the works about it. But it's fascinating to sort of. I guess the way I've described it is it's weird to have a game that's just conventionally well written and characterized instead of well written in this strange, specific Silent Hill way. I think Control does that a little bit well, where it's like you have
Mhm.
to kind of argue what intent is and like what's intentional, what's not, what's the stilted nature of like the lost in translation element of like setting essentially Japanese horror in America. And this just
Mhm.
feels like so much more cohesive in terms of like being a game about Japan in Japan by Japanese
Mm.
developers, and it doesn't lose something. It feels different, but as a result, it's just strange to be like, oh, this is just a conventionally good script instead of like this thing you have to debate.
Right.
Yeah. I
I think for
do
me,
seasonally I end up watching like Let's Plays of Silent Hill games when it's Halloween time just because Silent Hill I don't know. It is such a special, weird, atmospheric game whose influence you can just see like flow out through different forms of media, special horror, especially horror films. Ever since it came out, they're just special games. So
Mm-hmm.
if I don't, think I am too much of a. I love horror movies. I just can't do horror games. Like that's the big thing for me.
I think for me, like, less anything spooky, more just like the season. Now that it's like, starting to get cold and, things are a little bit like you got to stay inside more. You'll have to. I start thinking about like, I want to play a JRPG and I won't finish it. But like, which one am I going to start this year?
Play
Probably
Tactics.
the like, oh, I mean, well, I've already played and beaten Tactics. I could
Okay.
replay it. I mean, like not recently, but back in the day. No, I was thinking like the new Trails remake because everyone's saying it's really
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
and I want to actually like understand what that series is about. So probably that one.
Good luck.
All right. From Jason Sans Argonauts. And I'm going to preface this question by saying that we must keep it from both of you in particular to a single example, because otherwise this will become an entire other podcast.
Okay,
Okay.
I agree.
Is
I'll
there
be
a
good.
Okay. Is there a single film or film franchise that you think deserves a reappraisal?
Gita, you go
I
first.
mean, okay. I have to think of this. I do think. No, I don't want that to be my singular answer. I do think Silent Hill fans are too mean about the first Silent Hill movie. That movie is good.
Mhm.
It is a fun, freaky movie with compelling performances. Like you don't get wrapped up on so much of whether or not the cult is the same as in the game. Don't worry about it. But no, I think I actually no. Let's go with that because I know I have a better answer, but that one I do feel very strongly about. The first Silent Hill movie is a good movie. It is a good scary movie, especially if you watch it in the correct context, which is you're a 14-year-old girl and you're having a sleepover and you put that movie on and everyone's screaming. That's how you should be watching that Silent Hill movie. If you're watching it to see how much it is like the Silent Hill video game, you've already lost. The other ones suck. They're all terrible. But that first one is great. The other ones suck, especially Kit Harington. The only thing he knows how to do in a movie is never close his mouth. So he just like he's really pathetic and really frustrating to watch. But that first one is great.
Yeah, it's complicated because like I think it can be an unhealthy impulse sometimes to be like, this is actually great. You know what I mean? And like that can be annoying because sometimes something's just bad. So I'm going with Austin Powers.
You know, you're right about Austin Powers. No,
I am
you're
correct.
right about Austin Powers too.
No, actually, Austin Powers 2 is the worst one. Austin Powers 3 hates its audience. Austin Powers 2 is just kind of mid, despite introducing many of the popular, fan favorites. Let's just say. But Austin Powers 3, you can just see him like loathing being Austin Powers, and so it kind of warps around. Actually, you know what? American Dad. American Dad needs to just get its flowers.
I've heard this.
It's really good.
Yeah, but wait, it's not a film or film franchise. It's a TV show.
I can't think of anything. I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's okay.
Man, that's fair enough.
I forgive you.
Yeah.
Being on the spot is hard.
Yeah, it really is. All right. From Ghost then. Barry Weiss is reportedly being named editor-in-chief of CBS News. I'd love to know if anyone has fun stories about people failing upwards. I mean, we worked in media, so of course we do.
I mean, nothing will ever beat the day that I was laid off from Vice, and then like a few days later, I found out that the person that was the head of Vice at that time gave herself a bonus that was more than my annual salary. That's just. I know you were hoping for funny stories, but they're always more like funny ow and not funny haha.
Yeah, what's anybody failing up?
Have I ever told you about the time I interviewed at Vice several times? And then like basically I was, I was young in my 20s and they kept just having like listings for like interns and shit because I was like, 20, 21 or something like that, and I was like, oh boy, the magazine. Nathan Barley's real, by the way. Watch Nathan Barley, it's real.
Nathan Barley is real. That's so fucking true.
I had a couple of interviews there before eventually just meeting my friend Zach on the bus as a stranger, and he like offered me a job on the spot. And I took it without the interview. But like the other two interviews, I remember the second one, I walked in, they had a crate of malt liquor, just like a fucking full crate by the front desk. And then I walked in the interview, and the person who was supposed to interview me had to go to a funeral, so they got his like assistants to interview me. And in the middle of the interview, they said, hey, one turned to the other and say, hey, do you want a Colt? I haven't had one today yet.
Wow, the end of that sentence is so interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't had one today.
Yes,
yet.
It is like they wanted like in an interview, like I got like dressed up.
What the fuck?
It's
what
crazy.
A weird company that
fucking
was.
Weird company. And then I got paid like I guess McDonald's wages to assistant edit Vice Guide to Everything, which is a show that nobody liked.
Nobody likes that show. I remember when my husband was still working in media, he explained to me how he got paid. He got paid on a Visa prepaid debit card.
That's not
And
legal.
he had to, they would load it up with money, and he had to go and take it out and then take that cash to his bank to deposit it. And that's how he was paid.
That
Is
seems like a
illegal.
crime. Yeah, that is a crime.
Yeah.
At this point, I think the answer to this question is all of Vice as a company failed upward.
Everybody that was like above, like not like working with writers is basically was just a clown in a clown costume.
Shane
is
Smith owns
basically
like
my
a
opinion.
mountain in Costa Rica, and for some reason wants
Yeah.
to. They brought him back to be like fucking. I don't know, what is it? He's doing.
Is he an editorial guy?
He's like, no, he's on like YouTube. Like he's doing like Adam Friedland show shit. Like he's like,
boy.
here I am with Destiny, and it's like, what the? Nobody fucking
Oh
likes you.
God! Speaking of somebody who
Why?
failed
Two-
upward,
Two
Destiny has
people that
failed upward,
nobody
like-
wants. Can they just seal that
Destiny
room that
did,
they're
like-
in?
Destiny did like failing upward, but if it was the game, baby steps, like just straight upward
So
trajectory.
true. God.
Um,
Man,
yeah.
do you have a good failing upward story, Nathan, or are we moving on?
I think I'm ready to move on the basis that, again, being put on the spot. I will have stories for all these things as soon as we end the episode, and I'll be like, damn it. And then, yeah, it'll be great. Anyway, from Send, if you got to design a new candy bar, what would it be? What flavors are missing in the world of treats? It's a
Interesting.
really good question. Something involving sun-dried tomato.
Disgusting. I'm gonna tell Biscuit you said that. She'll be upset with
Well,
you.
the number one theory on her current balance problems is that her ears are full of gunk, so she won't be able to hear you.
Oh wow. No, I think in general there are a few candy bars that I want the experience of a caramel truffle, but without a cookie component. I don't want the cookie in there. I want like a caramel truffle with ganache, but no cookie. So it's similar to a Twix, but like where the cookie would be, it would just be ganache. I want like a long truffle, like
A long truffle. Okay, I like this idea.
Yeah, right? Like a caramello bar is too gooey. Like it's hard to like eat that. The caramel just goes everywhere. And I understand that the cookie is in the Twix bar so that the caramel is sitting on the Twix and it doesn't just spill out when you eat it. But I don't like the cookie that is in the Twix bar. I don't think it's good. And also the chocolate is low quality. So higher quality chocolate and then like a ganache or something that's more solid chocolate for the caramel to sit on. Because to me, like a candy bar, chocolate and caramel is the two flavors I really want.
So I mean, we're just talking like premium Twix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bougie Twix. We're creating bougie Twix here.
Yeah.
I don't.
Dubai Twix.
Fuck.
Unfortunately, I think the Dubai chocolate has sort of hit like we've crested past peak Dubai chocolate.
Oh yeah.
So you're starting to see sort of like people just be like, oh, there's a million of these now. I don't want for good candy because I have a relatively Europe-y / Turkish / whatever market near me, and you can just get Europe candy, and Europe candy's good.
Europe candy is so much better.
Europe
I love
candy's
the
good. They have good
bars.
Yeah, Caro bars. I had one last night that was like called a Kit Kat Cot or something like that, and it was like by Ulker.
That does sound European. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's called a Cat Tat. I'm sorry. And a Cat Tat is like, yeah, it's fuck. These don't cost more than getting like a shitty Snickers.
That sounds like a Rat Pack candy bar.
Look it up, Cat Tat. It's basically what it is like it's like chocolate filling, and then the outside is like flaky, like a flaky crust, like a croissant crust.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I didn't know you could do that in a bar. Or like one of my long-term fascinations is with rare Ritters. Like I love the Ritter Sport.
Oh yeah,
the Ritter.
I love the Ritter Sport.
The Ritter is just the ideal. Like everything that Snickers says it is, where it's like you need a small snack. It's like the Ritter Sport. If you look at the Ritter Wikipedia, it's called Ritter Sport because it's meant to fit in a sports jacket. It has like a kind of like fold-overable like design. There's a big section of the Ritter Sport Wikipedia that's just kind of yada yada yada's past a lot of history, which whatever happened in Germany and during that time period. But the Olympia flavor, oh wow, you should look up the Olympia flavor of that. Sounds like a Leni Riefenstahl Ritter Sport, but it is like it literally is yogurt, hazelnut, and honeycomb. It's so fucking good. It is so good.
That
It
sounds
sounds like a
amazing.
fucking thing you'd hear about in a Greek myth.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What I would want is like, okay, so, the concept of like homemade fudge, right? Just that is like a regularly bought and sold candy bar, like in a nice little package where you can get
Mm.
it anywhere.
It's
Because, you'll find it at like Bucky's and places like that, or the convention center downtown in Manhattan for some reason. Um, but it's harder to find elsewhere. I just want that readily and easily available to me. Then I'd eat it all the time, and it would ruin my life.
I will say the problem with that is in order for that to be like a thing that doesn't immediately go bad, you need a humecticant, which is like a thing that
Uh,
keeps the moisture in the thing. You can use allulose, which is the fake sugar that like is basically like Olestra but for sugar, and it exists in figs in very small quantities.
uh,
Um, really strange chemical that you can use in stuff. The problem is you get that what I would describe as what are those cookies and cakes that like uh, just are moist forever in a way that's troubling.
I mean, like, not Hostess, right? I mean, that's
No,
just a brand.
the one that's like it's in a blue and white box. You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh, the Chips Ahoy cookies.
No,
Why do you mean
No, sorry.
Twinkies?
Entenmann's.
Okay.
Entenmann's, yes. Sorry. Chips Ahoy has a texture that I don't
Chips Ahoy also has this.
I don't like this. Yes, it's
Hmm.
squishy. It's a
Yeah.
squishy
Oh, yeah.
cookie.
No, Chips Ahoy is not good. It also
Ugh.
like has that problem of like it doesn't taste like any other chocolate chip cookie. It just tastes like
Yes.
itself,
If you
Yes.
which
yeah,
I don't want
Nasty.
that.
if
Yeah.
you get
Exactly.
if you get Entenmann's like fudge stuff, it's like it tastes good. It tastes moist, but it also tastes moist in a way that like this is clearly old. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
tasting like this. And
Yeah,
like
Right.
it's a scary texture.
what you want is a ready, accessible, fresh. But the problem is you have to cheat in order for it to have distribution. So just learn how to
Right.
make a brownie.
There we go.
Listen, brownies are
Um,
actually pretty easy to make. I can come over and
Oh,
make
they're
you
incredibly easy to
brownies.
make. You can just buy
Yeah.
some mix, toss it in a pan, easy peasy. All right. From Mystic Eddie T. What's some of your favorite physical media to collect, or what would you like to collect if you could afford it? And do you
Vinyl.
think all the fear and anxiety around online media has made you more personally invested in owning physical media?
Oh yeah. I mean, I now buy. I mean, I've always bought. I was the when I reminisce about DVD culture and the DVD era of filmmaking, it's because I was the one buying all those DVDs. I would go to Hollywood Video and just go in their bargain bin section and just buy random stuff. And I found so many of my favorite movies from that method. And now that is almost impossible to do. So I've made a habit now of buying DVDs, or I guess Blu-rays. But for me, vinyl really is my favorite thing to collect. I love collecting vinyl because I love just looking at the beautiful artwork, and I love listening to records, and I love having a lot of vinyl and being surrounded by vinyl. Um, Although I suppose you could probably say my favorite form of media to collect is books. I can't go into a bookstore without buying two books. Like,
Hmm.
it's just impossible for me. I will see two books I want and then buy them.
I have a real love-hate relationship with physical media because I love having a little box in my apartment that stores like the Library of Alexandria for like every piece of media that I've ever wanted, you know what I mean? And I think that like there is something to like ripping things and then letting them go. Um and also I'm more than familiar with like how disc rot works and like the ways in which these things are not as unless we fucking get M discs to be like the standard, which I think we should, which are the Blu-rays that last 300 years. It's hard. It's really hard to sort of maintain these things. I collect laser discs, but only to rip them and put them online because a lot of these things are not like in a place where they can survive otherwise. So I'm a huge digitization fan, and also I just don't like keeping a lot of stuff sometimes. Like I like things that are useful and functional, but I do love a good book, and I do love a good
Oof.
cover, and I do love yeah, I'm torn. I'm a very like I see people who are like I watched the laserdisc version of Jurassic Park, and it's like bro, there's a Blu-ray over there. You can do that. Like you don't need to do I feel very complicated about media sometimes. Where it's like there's
Yeah.
better versions of it. You can
I
just
mean,
fucking download it, man. It's
am I
warmer.
grateful that I can just mention a movie to you and you'll help me find a place to watch that movie? Yes, I am incredibly grateful. Did do I however, I am also a person that watched Disney's Beauty and the Beast at a very young age and imprinted emotionally onto that scene where she
Yeah.
goes into the library and she's surrounded by books. That's been a goal of mine for like a large
Yeah.
part of my life.
And to be fair, I do collect a lot of like Blu-rays, like particularly if they're from small distributors, because they fucking need that money, man. Like they straight up need that money. But
Absolutely.
fucking don't even stop at Criterion. Go to Vinegar Syndrome. They have the weird pornography that's like from the 70s. That's like strange to look at. That is like
Yeah.
lovingly restored by freaks. Like everything. Like Third
Asylum
Window,
also has
Third
like a
Window
lot
films.
of great. Yeah, Third Window's really good.
Oh, Third Window, by the way, is putting out a series that I think people need to pay attention to, which is the Mike Hammer trilogy.
Oh yes, someone in a group chat mentioned that the other day.
Stairway to a Distant Past, and I think they're doing it in a 3-pack. I'm ordering that shit. So good, like unheralded masterpieces that are finally getting a good transfer. Really, you got to care about restoration, and you got to care about the economics of restoration, because like it's just like I don't know, people just especially people who make gay porn, like the people who restore old vintage gay pornography, like God, who's the guy who did You Make Me Feel? Sylvester with anyway, they put out a bunch of like really old vintage sound, like gay porn soundtracks. And they're phenomenal. They're just good electronic music, and like that's the kind of stuff I think you should just like go to a Shopify run by an elderly gay man who's just like got a really good media preservation instinct, and like give that guy money, because that's what's actually important in life.
Also definitely check out weird movie theaters. There probably is one in your city or town, like one that just plays really weird movies, and then also ask them where they find out about these movies, because I guarantee you the people that do programming for those movie theaters will want to talk to you about that. They definitely do.
For the record, it's Patrick Cowley. I was having a brain fart. Go listen to the entire discography of Patrick Cowley. Died too young. Basically everything he puts out is fucking sick as hell. Really early, like electronic and disco impresario, and high NRG music.
Yeah, I don't really collect many physical things beyond, and I don't know how else to put it, trinkets from my journeys. So I just have a lot of little things laying around that I've amassed from going places. Like this guy lives on my desk. I don't know what he is, but I have him.
He's your friend.
Yeah.
He's
And then
your
I also
friend.
have like this trophy that I got from the game developers conference because I
nice.
helped win a trivia competition. And then I drank out of it. So it's
Oh,
gross on the
cool.
inside.
Nasty.
You should wash it.
I think I did. I think it's just full of dust now. Anyway, that's the kind of physical media I collect. I've got these little guys that a friend made. Anyway, is it physical media? I don't know. It's something. But yeah, okay. Next question. From I Once Was a Cat. How often do you visit the library? What do you look for when at the library? Well, books.
I'm
Anyway,
always looking at the DVD section at the library. Again, because I would love to spend less money on streaming. I don't think streaming is like conducive to actually watching cool and interesting films.
and also the
'Cause they're-
prices keep going up and they keep removing shit.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So I love to look at libraries' DVD collections. You can find a lot of really good movies at the library.
Yeah, you can.
Also, full seasons of television shows at the library.
Yep.
And it's you can also ask your librarians to do interlibrary loan for you if you can't find something that you want, and it's just really lovely. I love a library.
DVD box sets of TV are so fucking hard to find. If I may make a very tiny digression, I think like a few years back, some guy in the West Village was writing a book about Donald Trump and The Apprentice and all that, and what led up to it. And he hired me to make what is functionally a highlight reel of his best moments from The Apprentice, to show Donald Trump. So
Wait,
Donald Trump,
really?
yes, to show him
So
to
Donald Trump has seen your work?
he has, I think maybe I
Man,
didn't
that is,
follow up.
wait, this is some of the wildest lore that I think you've ever dropped.
He has seen a highlight reel that I have made of sorts. Uh, but the thing about it is, in order to get it, you had to like, you can't watch The Apprentice online anymore. They took it off. I don't think
Mhm.
they put it back. I'm surprised they haven't put it back yet because that feels like a thing that Donald Trump would bully them into doing. Be like,
Right.
I think you should be able to watch this on Hulu. And honestly, that's probably the one thing I agree with him about because it's a fascinating show. So I had to go and I had to fucking use like make MKV, get my hacked fucking Blu-ray drive out of the closet, like USB connected to my fucking PC, and then like do the thing of like physically ripping media because you just can't do that. And you know where a great places that is for that is the library. Library has that shit. Library has that
They
shit.
bought them before streaming is the big thing, especially
Yep.
for this era of
Yep.
television. Streaming didn't exist, so libraries bought these DVDs so that they could lend them to library users.
Libraries
Yeah.
also have like performances that just have never been released. Like I
Yes.
think like I forget where in Midtown has one of the some Yukio Ninigawa stagings that are just straight up never been put out there. And like oftentimes we'll have to like go to visit a little room to do it, but they're really great. You know, they don't want those lended out because they don't have the rights to do that because they're like locked down. But like lending libraries and like going to a place and looking at a thing is like so cool. I haven't done it that much, but like I respect that it is done and is a resource that if you're trying to do real research is fucking really important.
Absolutely. I don't visit the library as often as I would love to, but I do make use of the library's services frequently,
Same.
especially renting ebooks. I love doing that.
Yeah.
I
Audiobooks
love
too.
Oh man, it's really, really wonderful. Getting a library card is so worth it just because you can always try out the first 3 chapters of a book and decide to get the physical copy later, which I almost always end up doing. But
And you
I
should
read a lot of
request
books
stuff.
that are like, yeah, you should request stuff. They want to know what they should be getting for the library.
All right. From Cactrut. With the Final Fantasy Tactics remaster apparently knocking it out of the park, what other RPG from that era would you like to receive the same treatment? My answer is always Legend of Legaia, a little-known JRPG that had a sort of fighting game-inspired combat system. That was also like the first JRPG I really invested significant time in, and which, at least at that point changed my life. I'm not sure if it holds up. It'd be interesting to see.
It's hard for me to say. Go ahead, sorry.
I think that there needs to be a better reappraisal of Breath of Fire. I think Breath of Fire 3 and Breath of Fire 4 in particular are fascinatingly beautiful games. They're from an era when Capcom was doing really beautiful 2D sprite work. And I got into an argument as to whether or not Dragon Quarter counted as Breath of Fire 5, and my answer is no, it doesn't, because it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's called Breath of Fire 5 in Japan.
Yeah, because it's it's kind of like a dungeon crawler, right?
It's a different game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like saying that like Vagrant Story is a Final Fantasy game. It's like I can see the logic, but no. But like I really miss what that game was, and I feel like it's sort of downwind of something, which is that like Final Fantasy got so mired in making things that were technically beautiful that they kind of lost sight of like their sprite work, and we never got the thing that looked like Amano's art in the game. Like you'd see these Amano this Amano art, and you'd be like, can't wait for you to like Okami that into like something cool looking, like really fey, beautiful sprite work, cell shaded or something. And I feel like that has been to the detriment of Square. I think they missed an easy opportunity to do something really interesting. Potentially with lower levels of fidelity too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they have been like with like Bravely Default and stuff like that, kind of exploring, more 2-dimensional. So they could like 2D, theoretically 3D. Eventually
but that's not what
create
I wanted.
A game that sort of leans into I know, but what I'm saying is they're no longer just doing super high fidelity stuff. So there's room now in kind of their broader oeuvre for them to explore that style in a more direct way. Will they ever do it? I have no idea, but it would be really neat.
I guess maybe Vagrant Story, I think, is my answer of something that needs to
Yeah.
be. Although that's really easy to fuck up. That's like super easy to fuck
But
up.
yeah, because so much of its look was rooted in the kind of like pixelated style of the time that made it look really distinct and really cool. And if they like cleaned that up, it'd be
Yeah.
like, oh,
If you change
don't
the
do that.
font, someone will kill you.
I would love to see a beautiful remaster of something like Princess Maker 2, which was a Gynax game that was a sort of now I think they call them like raising sims or something. It's like a stat management game where
Mhm.
you are given by the goddess a baby to raise up into potentially the queen of the entire kingdom. But there is all
Mhm.
an RPG element, and there's a dozens and dozens of different endings you can get based on what you, the player, like have her do. Does she take dance classes, or is she taking combat classes? Is she a good homemaker, or does she learn about diplomacy? These kinds of things. And it is perfectly playable now, but I would love to see a version of it that is just lushly re-illustrated. It has so much potential. I love Princess Maker too.
Also dropping this
Hell
in the
yeah.
chat, but apparently Hilltop, who, if you don't know, Hilltop is a localizer who does just incredible work, like phenomenal work, has a Vagrant Story font patch for the ROM that makes it legible without like changing the core feeling that the font does, and it's really good because the default font is like really hard to read. It's like the worst
Oh
part.
my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah. All right. From Drew. What's a nice thing you've done outside recently?
Oh, I love the outside.
Yeah.
I went on a beautiful hike this summer with my husband in Vermont. It was an incredible hike to a waterfall. Uh, really beautiful, and I felt so good doing it. Man, Vermont is a beautiful, beautiful part of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved that. That wasn't necessarily recent. I try to go to parks as often as I possibly can. New York has a lot of beautiful parks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love Fort Greene Park. Fort Greene Park is high-key maybe my favorite park. I
Yeah.
love that park.
I like that park pretty well. I've gone running around there a couple times.
It's
Oh, yeah.
also
Oh, yeah.
really good to. There's also like Metro North Unsung. You can just go to a town. It's so sick. You don't have to. You
Oh,
don't even need a
absolutely.
car. You could just go there. It's
I
like
went and
so
I spent
nice.
a week in God, not Peekskill, but somewhere else upstate that has like a nice art, uh like just nice local art and local bookstores, and I just spent a week there, and it
Mhm.
was really, really nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it was inexpensive, like maybe $20 to go all the way there and back.
Yeah,
Loved it.
it's like it's the one thing that we are good at is transit, and not just in the city. Getting out of the city, go to Long Island.
Yeah, I have this like kind of longer term project tying back into what I was saying about running earlier. Every time that I go for a long run, I try to go to a different park. Eventually I will go to every park in Brooklyn on foot, which is always fun. So yeah, let's see. Which is the one that I went to the other night or a couple weeks ago because it was like it's whichever park is like on that series of piers. Here, I'll just look it up on Google Maps. And like, you know, it was already dark outside and I was approaching the water and I could like see, you know, like Manhattan across the way. And it was just like one of those moments where you're just like, this city has its issues, but sometimes it's just breathtaking.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
You hear
yeah,
that
it was just like
classic.
so nice.
You hear that classic Eric Adams campaign theme, and you just go. There's
I
a,
Yeah, and I think
wanna
about
be a part of it.
you actually, I will
I think
say,
about how somebody could be opening a small business or 9/11
or
could be
9/11
happening.
could be happening. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Our city contains multitudes. It really is beautiful. Which park is this? Why can't I find it? Oh, it's over in Brooklyn Heights.
Okay.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Bridge Park Pier.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of them too, and so it was great because I got to go running down like the entire stretch, and then I would go up one pier and be like, "Oh, is it still open? Can I like run around at this?" And I could. And so with each one, and they're like, one of them has like a labyrinth, like a maze in it you can run through, and I was like,
Cool.
"This is sick! Like, why have I never come here before?" Yeah, just a great time. All right, so that was every question. We finally did it. This has been a jam-packed episode. Thank you everybody who tuned in. It was a wonderful time. This has been Aftermath Hours, which is the official podcast of aftermath.site. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe at aftermath.site/products. We record this every week live on Twitch on Thursday at 4 p.m. ET. We will do it again next week and forever because we will never die. But until then, have a good one.
Later.
Bye.